You've heard the story. Crypto is speculation. Banks won't touch it. The rails belong to the old guard. Here's the truth. While everyone was distracted, one company built a bridge. Not a flashy coin, not a meme token, a settlement layer. And today, its asset stands not only as one of the few to survive a full legal battle around classification, but as a tested contender in the new infrastructure of global liquidity. You think crypto is still the fringe? Think again, because the new financial system isn't coming, it's already being built. And this could be its hidden foundation. For decades, global payments ran through legacy plumbing, correspondent banks, nostro-vostro accounts, multi-layered clearinghouses, swift messages bouncing across nodes, each layer adding delay, cost, and friction. It worked when the world was slower, when trade volumes were manageable, when currencies were stable, when digital was just an idea. Then finance got digital. Cross-border trade exploded. Emerging markets, remittances, instantaneous settlement became the new expectation. The old rails were exposed. Liquidity got trapped. Value took hours or days to settle. In times of crisis, 2008, the pandemic, the cracks became impossible to ignore. Governments printed billions. Central banks pivoted to digital experiments. The system started to groan under its own age. The architecture of money itself had reached its limit. Behind closed doors, central banks began to prepare the upgrade. They called it modernization. But in truth, it was replacement. Because the rules had changed, value needed to move like information, not like cargo. The cost of delay was becoming systemic risk. The logic was clear. Shareholders, regulators, nations, they all see it coming. If they didn't rebuild the foundation, someone else would. So while the public focused on crypto prices and memes, global payment networks began migrating to a new standard. In 2022, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication began its ISO 2022 migration, a new universal language for financial messages. Concurrently, the BIS launched its multi-CBDC bridge initiatives. The IMF published studies on interoperable ledgers. These weren't isolated experiments. They were pieces of a single blueprint, a programmable, permission-agnostic financial architecture. Money that travels instantly, transactions that settle globally in seconds, an economy where liquidity doesn't get stuck in middlemen, and it isn't vaporware, it's live. Enter the company and the token that positioned itself quietly in the background. Its strategy: build 3 layers: the technology, the standard, the corridor. First, technology. A global payments network that enables on-demand liquidity, ODL. Instead of pre-funding accounts, liquidity could move only when needed. No waiting, no oversized balances. Second, standardization. ISO 2022 compliance, data-rich, machine-readable financial messaging. Third, real-world corridors. Remittance hubs. Banks across Asia, Middle East, Africa, linking payments in and out of currencies that don't trust each other. While many crypto projects chased hype, this one built rails. In corridors across continents, institutions quietly connected to the network. It wasn't announced with fanfare. It just happened. Now here's the game changer. In the US, classification matters. Is a token a security or an asset? That distinction determines regulatory burden, adoption by institutions, risk. In December 2020, the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a lawsuit alleging $1.3 billion of unregistered security sales via the token. The case dragged on. Finally, a federal judge ruled that the token itself is not a security in the way the SEC defined it. When sold on public exchanges, it cleared that test. The judge found that the institutional sales, i.e., direct contracts with the company, did meet the definition of investment contracts, but the programmatic sales, on exchanges, and token distributions did not. This layered outcome means something. The asset is legally cleared in the most common public trading scenario, while the institutional layer still faces some liability. That alone sets this token apart. Why is that critical? Because institutions need regulatory clarity. Banks won't build on rails they can't certify. Governments won't adopt rails they can't audit. And this asset now has a court-recognized clarity that most don't. But the story doesn't end there. That same token faced waves of skepticism and FUD, particularly from players tied to the old guard of global payments. Voices with institution-backed pedigrees publicly claimed the network wouldn't adopt it, that other tokens, such as Chainlink or networks, would instead fill the role, that banks don't take it seriously. Yet behind the scenes, the very systems they claimed to govern were quietly testing interoperability via ISO 2022 standards, and the token in question was passing those tests. While the naysayers posted LinkedIn updates and press statements, the corridors were wiring up. That silent proof of rail legitimacy created the edge. Legal victory, plus regulatory clarity, plus hidden institutional testing. That's agency, that's infrastructure. That's why this is not speculation, it's architecture. Now let's widen the lens. The global strategy is clear. Trade corridors are shifting. Reserve systems are shifting. Networks built on utility, not permission, are gaining prominence. The BRICS coalition is expanding. Middle East settlement hubs are growing. Africa's remittance lanes require real-time liquidity. SWIFT began its ISO 2022 migration. The token at hand, it was already ISO ready. While public commentary said, "We don't take this token seriously," the technology was being integrated. While the world saw volatility, banks saw rails. The network positioned itself as neutral, not tied to one country, one regulator, one ideology. As such, it's uniquely positioned for the era of utility. Take the asset itself. It's not about price spikes or hype, it's about movement. Movement of value between currencies, between banks, between countries. In the era of utility, liquidity is the signal. Real-time settlement, interoperability, predictable rails, that's what institutions will pay for. This token offers neutrality. It's not bound to one nation-state. It's not a promise of profits. It's a functional bridge between currencies. It's regulatory cleared, globally oriented, ISO compliant. It's the kind of asset that works not because of hype, but because it exists to move value. Imagine a world where the old system ran on trust and opacity. You didn't know where your money went. You didn't know how fast it settled. You didn't know which intermediary took the cut. In the new system, transparency replaces opacity, code replaces trust, networks replace gatekeepers. Money becomes information. And information cannot be hidden. Institutions know this. They're already building with that understanding. The legacy system rewarded gatekeepers. The new world rewards interoperability and flow. You're watching the architecture of the next era being built. It's not speculation, it's infrastructure. It's not tomorrow, it's already happening. If you want to understand where value will flow next, not just what will spike, subscribe now. Because while others chase the headlines, We map the halls where value is wired. The rails are ready. The question is, will you ride or watch the train leave?